You can never be too careful with things like this.
Because that's when you start filming it all and you get back, you got no sound. All you hear is the waves.
I don't even. So I absolutely appreciate you
No problem.
giving us time to do this, and like lush that we've been able to capture our chat on the red bench. But if you just want to talk through the inception of the Red Bench project and what it's about.
So, for years I've always come and sat here, and then obviously when I went through me health issues, would often walk down the beach. Me and a friend, Stephen, who you met before, my friend Nick, and me and Mick used to do the little walk, but he was struggling with his health, and sadly passed away. And it was one day after I'd been speaking to his partner. We just sat in Minchella's, had a coffee and that, and we're sorting out what we're going to do for the funeral and things like that. And I was making sure she was all right. And then when she went home, I came here to my spot because obviously I was just basically an emotional wreck. And I came and I just sat and just burst into tears, just broke down. I was actually sitting on the bench just at the top there. And like I said, I often just come here just to try and sort my head out. So when I was sitting here, I thought, well, I've always wanted a bench when I died, like a memorial bench at the beach. And when I was sitting there, I just thought, well, why wait until I'm dead? Why not get one now? And it can be a spot for people who are suffering like I was, and it's somewhere they can go and they can benefit from the sound of the waves and just the calmness and just sort of that mad idea. As I sort of finished crying, I sorted myself out, and I took the slow walk back up home. And as I'm walking up home, I went straight on Facebook and I was like, right, can anybody help us with we're getting a bench? How do I go about getting a bench? And I sort of put the idea out there, and it just snowballed. So it went from that crazy idea of me wanting to have a bench that people can use to sort of relax and clear the head, to becoming this almost like a movement of helping people. So in my head, I sort of tried to figure out, what do I want it to be? Is it just a bench? Is it more than that? Because obviously you've got talking benches, you've got buddy benches, that sort of thing. So then I thought, well, how can I make it more? And that's when we came up with the plaques there. So you've got the plaque where it's got, obviously, the dedication. So this one, my friend Mick, he's one of those people where it was all about him. So that's what we've actually got on there. It's all about me. You know what I mean? And it's great because it's not morbid. It's not a memorial. It just literally is all about him. But then we've got the QR code, which will take you to the website, which once it's complete, you'll be able to get help. It's got the number, there's like the Samaritans. So there's all the helps on there.
So where does that QR code take you to?
That takes you to the website.
Okay, lovely.
So it just means if somebody's sitting here, they can literally ring Samaritans if they're struggling that bad, or they can go on the website and then find the help, because there's help out there. Most people just think the only help you can get is if you go to your doctors, in which case you're either on medication or counselling, and that's not always going to help everyone. I mean, I've done all that, and I didn't want medication. That wasn't the route I wanted to go down. And I did the counselling, but it just didn't work for me. So I thought, well, there's lots out there now, whereas when I went through a tough time, there wasn't as much. So you've got your likes of your Andy's Man Club, A Step Forward, Chilling and Spilling, you know, and stuff like that. Yes, you can Northeast. There's so many out there. It's like, well, how can we let people know about it? So that's when the website came up. So if somebody is struggling, they can do that. But then the other side of it is, because I've sat here at 2-3 o'clock in the morning and nobody's ever checked up on us. It's like literally people just walking past like you are now, even at 2 o'clock in the morning, you still get traffic coming past here. And I've only ever had one person ask if I was okay. And I thought, well, we need to change that. So it's a case of we'll promote the story. And it's like, well, this red bench can be a silent cry for help. It can be, hello.
This is equally why.
It's another, yeah, because you yell the dogs as well. It's great.
Also, personally, from perspective, if I was sitting here and I was going through it, and a dog walked past,
well, it's automatically going to cheer you up,
instantly I'm going to feel a lot better.
And it does, it works. And it's just, whether you're during the day and you've got this, or it's on a night time where it's a bit more like chill and quiet, it's just a great spot. I mean, like you see, you can hear the rest. How dare you? Look. Hello.
Gorgeous. We also need to fundraise for a dog at every bench.
Yeah. It's great medicine though, isn't it, when the dogs come across? Like I said, the amount of times I've just sat here and the dogs come over and it's great, man.
But I think this is equally, because I know the importance of like having this bench is like, it's like a passive cry for help.
Yeah.
Like it's a space you can sit and you can kind of almost let people know without saying,
Yeah.
oh,
I need help.
I need help, please come and speak to me.
Yeah.
But it is also that thing of, I've spoke to you about it before, where just having a space outside that you can come to and
It's a safe space.
just have people around you, other noise, dogs, see right in
The
front
distraction, yeah.
of like,
It's like I say, it just brings so much to the table. And the crazy part about it, the amount of people who have sat on the bench and they've all commented the same, not just this bench either. Obviously, we've got the other benches. So the one at Hebben, at the marina, a few people commented there, the one at Mill Dam. They say when they sit on the bench, there's just a peace.
Yeah.
And they just feel like a peace and a calmness, whereas without sounding daft, you said at some of the other benches you don't have that.
Yeah. Because this has got that purpose.
It's got that, yeah.
Kind of sitting here and you know that someone like yourself has created this space for people to feel
Safe.
calm. It's here for a purpose. That somebody's understood that this is needed because you are in a space where you need that space too. Just feel seen.
Aye, and it's great, and it just adds to it, and it's become a movement. And the fact that people know about it, people actually make a point of checking up. I mean, I've got the guys like Richie from Andy's Man Club. They're based at Suda Lighthouse, just up the road, and on his way to Suda Lighthouse, he drives past the Marsden bench, and he makes a point every day without fail. He pops into the car park just to have a look at the bench to see if there's anybody there. And if there is, he'll go over and have a chat with them, make sure they're all right. It's just that mentality.
Yeah.
It's the fact that people are so aware of what the bench is for that they want to help. And from that, I mean, the one at Marsden, I've got a friend who I know, she's in the Army Reserves, and she often walks her dog up on the bench, the grotto there. And she came across a bloke just sitting on the bench, and she went over and, how you doing? I struck up a conversation, had a bit chat with him. And after about 10-20 minutes, he opened up. He was literally about to go and hire himself over. But her just having a random conversation, not even asking if he was alright, just having a conversation, it broke his mindset, calmed him down. They then got talking, she was explaining what the bench is about and why she stopped and stuff like that. And he actually said afterwards that he was actually going to go. And she was convinced him otherwise, because that little interaction shows you that you're not alone. If a complete stranger can care enough, because when you're in that mindset, and I'm so glad that most people will never ever get that. They'll not understand it, and I'm glad, because it's a horrible place to be. But when you're in that mindset, you're not thinking straight. So I know I've got a massive support network, family, friends. They'll be there like a shot. If I literally picked the phone up and said, I'm struggling, they'll be here.
Yeah.
I mean, there's been times I've come down here on a night time and just sat and chilled. I've posted a picture and they've actually come down just to make sure I'm all right. So I know I've got that support network, but not everyone has that. So the fact that somebody's took their time just to make sure you're all right can make you realise that you're not alone, and that just blows my mind.
Yeah. But then also I think it's important to remind people that going up to somebody and asking if they need help, you don't need to have all the words, you don't need to have the perfect idea of how to help.
Yeah, you don't have to be trained.
Just being there and just saying, if you want to talk, I will listen, and/or just having a general chit chat and just.
Sometimes you're talking about the weather.
Yeah.
It's just that enough to break that cycle, because like I say, when you're in that place, it's a horrendous place to be in, and your brain is not functioning properly at all. You're not thinking straight. Because if you were thinking straight, you wouldn't be thinking about taking your life.
You get stuck in your own head.
Oh, the demons hit you and it's horrendous.
Because I remember going back to almost a year ago now, and it was there I'd talked to you about tinnitus that came into my head, and that's kind of what set me off. But I got to a place which I never thought I would get to, and I was having suicidal thoughts. And don't get me wrong, I know people have suicidal thoughts. Things pop in your head, and sometimes it's like, oh, where did that come from? But it was at a degree where it felt
alarming.
So real. And I remember saying to my mum, it was like, it's not that I'm scared of not wanting to be here, because I know I do.
Yeah.
But I'm scared of a part of me that will
Yeah.
perhaps do something.
And the thing is, it's one of those where you don't always have any intention of trying to take your life. But you just, because you're not thinking straight, because your brain's just sort of on that one track, you actually follow through with it. I mean, that's like when I went through my low time. I mean, I've had several, to be fair, but the time when I actually tried to kill myself, it wasn't the worst time I've ever had in my life. But at that time, it felt like it was. I felt like my whole world was imploding. You know, I had a little baby girl who depended on us, and, you know, the last thing you want to do is leave her without a dad. But I felt like everything was just going wrong, you know what I mean? And my brain wasn't working right. And the next thing I know, I've gone into the kitchen, grabbed the sharpest knife I could get. I've picked up God knows how many boxes of tablets. I had a bottle of Smirnoff Black Label, which is like extra strong stuff, which had been sat in the cupboard for God, because I don't drink that often. Sat there for ages, and I went with a purpose down to the bandstand, sat there, I downed the whole bottle, which I don't do shots, let alone drinking it, but I downed the whole bottle, umpteen tablets, so much so I even went to a shop and bought more.
Really?
Yeah. By all accounts, I was found with some like 20 odd packets. When you're not thinking straight, it just, you sort of switch off. You go on like an autopilot that's really scary, and that's like, say, the thoughts you were having, it's that. It's like something has took control of you. And when you try and explain that to people, they don't get it until they're in that position. People with depression don't work the same way as normal people, if that makes sense. And I keep saying to people, it's like, my bugbear on social media especially is when you see people who say, I really suffer from bad mental health, and I suffer from depression. They don't. They've had a bad day. There's a massive difference between having a bad day and actually wanting to go and kill yourself.
I used to say things like that about I always say my anxiety. It's not my anxiety, it's anxiety. But, you know, I'd say in uni, and it'd be like, right, you've got to do a 10-minute presentation, and I'd be like, oh God, I'm feeling really anxious. And then it's not until you're really struggling with anxiety that you're like, okay, well, that was nerves.
Yeah.
That was not, and it is that thing, like, it wasn't until lockdown where I think the reality set in, where it went to a place where cold sweats, like I was just disassociating all of this, and I was like, oh, so that's anxiety.
I mean, I lost a friend a few years ago to cancer, and it was one of those things where he knew his time was up. He basically got told, you've probably got about a year, and he started getting things in order and stuff. He knew he wasn't going to make it to his 60th birthday, so he had a 59 plus 1. So for his 59th birthday, he basically treated it like a 60th. Big, massive party. Everyone turned up in dodgy shirts and all the rest of it. He had like friends who came from like America and all sorts to celebrate with him, because they knew he probably wouldn't be here for his next one. And obviously he knew I was going through a tough time at the time and stuff like that. And at his party, bearing in mind he's dying, he turned around and said, how you doing, Wayne? Are you alright? And I'm like, I'm champion. The usual bollocks, you know, where you see you're fine and you're not. I'm like, oh yeah, I'm Wayne, you can't tell us, you know, if you're not feeling good. I'm like, well, I think you've got enough on your plate to worry about. He went, it's not a competition, you know. You're not trying to outdo us here. You're allowed to have a bad day. You're allowed to feel like shit, and that's okay. and you're allowed to tell us about it. I'm not gonna, it might not be as bad as me. Yes, I'm dying. You're not. But like I say, it's not a competition, and what's upsetting for you is important to you. At this moment in time, it's enough for you to feel the way you do. So therefore, talk about it, get it out there, and make it better. It's gonna do you good. And that was one of the last conversations I actually had with him. And that, to me, still to this day, is the best advice I've ever been given. Because you don't know what the next day is going to bring. And like you say, you're not competing. I know you've had issues, but my issues don't trump yours. Yours don't trump mine. Yours are bad for you, mine are bad for me. It's not a competition, you know what I mean? And that's...
I often say to people as well, as that notion of, no matter where we are in the world, we all feel fear, we all feel love, we all feel hope, stress. And what makes you stress is make me stress, but that feeling can still be the same.
Yeah.
And it is that thing of it's not a competition.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? How you feel is how you feel.
Well, that's it. And I just think you've just got to embrace it. So if I want to have that big cake, I'm going to have it. Because I might not be here tomorrow. I might not wake up. You know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely.
And so that's sort of where my mentality's changed with a lot of stuff.
And again, I think that's great because that's the mentality you've kind of
developed. Yeah,
developed and worked into, and that works for you.
It works for me. It gets me through another day.
I think that again, that's one of those important things, and kind of just tying up the conversation. But what works for you doesn't work for me, and vice versa. And it is that thing of whatever does work for you in that moment, should you need it, when you need it, embrace it. If it works, whether somebody else thinks it's good, it's bad, or whatever, if it works for you in that moment,
then
embrace it and then do it, and then develop new ways of dealing further on down the line. Try and make, you know what I mean? But in that moment, whatever works, eat the cake.
Eat the cake.
Go past, don't panic.
You ruin my shot, you spoil it all. But no, it isn't. It's just, it's good to see things have changed for people, and people are more accepting, and people are now willing to talk and open up and get out there, and it's good for me because I couldn't do that 15 years ago. Now I can, and it's great because, like you said, it started like yourself. A little blog, it was me rant on Facebook. That little rant on Facebook then became a bit more, and then it became a bench, and then it became a documentary, and it became a podcasting and whatever else, and a talk at an assembly with kids that are 3-year-old and don't know what you're talking about, and it's just mad how things just spiral, but all for the good. And then that's now given me a purpose. So me doing the bench, the Red Bench project is my purpose. I'm helping others. And it's an extension of when I used to do all the fundraising. I mean, I still do the fundraising. It's that way when you're helping others, it makes you feel good. And I'm taking that to the next level. I'm not only helping people, but I'm stopping people from ending their lives. And there's people still here because of this bench. And that just blows my mind.
And that's a beautiful thing. That's a really beautiful thing.
And it is.
What a purpose.
Yeah.
What a purpose.
And that's it. And that's probably my reason for being on this earth, is to do that.
And you know what? Even if it isn't, and something changes down the line, we're all in a constant state of flux.
Exactly.
Things change, livelihoods change, living situations change a lot, but it's just kind of going, right, I've been through shit before. Yeah. I'll get through shit again. Yes, it's shit, and it's hard, and it might be the depths of despair, but it will get better.
Yeah.
Well, keep doing what you're doing. Let's
Thank you very much.
get out the cold, because I think I'm starting to lose feeling in my fingers. It's been a pleasure, man. I appreciate it.
Definitely. Well, thank you for taking the time and highlighting the Red Bench.
Not at all.
Thank you very much. This is the bit where it hurts.
the dogs that do for me. This is prime dogs, though.
Yeah.